I'm so glad you're here. Thanks for joining me. My name is Mary. Today's practice was designed for my friends who bike and run and maybe overdo it sometimes. So this practice is really nice for taking a break and kind of getting into some of those areas that you might be feeling really sore or stiff from overuse. For practice today, you might like to have blocks, a chair, and a bolster or firm pillow on hand. We'll start the practice seated, so you could be on your mat with legs crossed or out in front, or you could start in a chair. So choose what works best for you. We'll just do a couple of shoulder and neck stretches to start. So sit up tall, take a breath in to expand your spine. As you exhale, bring your left ear towards your left shoulder. You could bring your arms either down by your sides if you're on a chair or just gently touching your mat. So never forcing, just feeling an opening along the right side of your neck. Take a few deep breaths. And then when you're ready to take a breath in, let your head come up, extend your spine again, shoulders down, and then move to the other side. So just opening up, starting out slowly, being very careful and tender with your cervical spine. So feel your breath lengthen, deep breaths in and out. And then with your next breath in, let your head come up. And then we'll bring chin towards chest. So no reason to have to touch your chin. Just let your chin drop to a point where you feel an openness in your upper spine. You could have your hands on your thighs or alongside your body, but sitting up tall with your shoulders down. Breathe in and out. Let's do one more big breath. In and out. With your next breath in, let your head come up. And then we'll just do a look to the side. So look to your left, sitting up tall, shoulders back. Breath in, breath out. Breath in, breath out. And then with your next breath in, back to center. Reset yourself. Breath in, tall spine, and then look the opposite direction. Let's take 3 rounds of breath in and out. And then on your next breath in, look back to center. So now we'll just start to do some very small shoulder rolls, shoulder shrugs, just bringing your shoulders up and down, going backwards and then forwards, just kind of getting the kinks out a little bit. And you can decide where you want to place your hands. So once you kind of feel like you've loosened up a little bit in your joints, let's start to do a little more controlled movement with breath. So as you take a breath in, draw your shoulders up towards your ears, sitting up straight. And then as you exhale, draw your shoulder blades together and down to make a big circle. So try that a couple times. So shoulder blades up with your breath in, and then shoulder blades together and back as you lower. A little shrug, breathing in, exhaling, lower. Next, bring your hands to your heart in a prayer. We'll take a breath in and goalpost your arms, so drawing your shoulders together, your shoulder blades together. And then as you exhale, give yourself a hug, leaning forward, right hand underneath left. You could bring your chin towards your chest. And then move with your breath, so feeling opening as you inhale across the front side of your body, and then opening across the back side as you lean forward. Let's do one more. Breath in, right arm underneath left. And then this time we'll open up And then bring your opposite arm under as you lean a little bit forward. So really feeling loose and soft in your shoulders. So if you notice if you're holding something really tight, maybe just let your grip go a little bit. And we'll do one more. And then come up to seated. Next, we'll make our way to all fours. Spread your fingers wide, knees about hip-width distance apart. See if you can align your wrist right underneath your shoulder. We'll do a pose called Chakravakasana, which is a series of poses, cow, cat, child's pose. I'll lead you through it. So as you take a breath in, come to cow pose. So chest forward, tailbone up. See if you can keep your neck neutral. So if you notice you're really straining your neck, see if you can almost just look a little bit right in front of you. And then as you exhale, you'll come to cat pose. So drawing chin and tailbone in, arching your spine, and then taking a little sink towards child's pose, and then back to center. So try that a couple times with your breath, breathing into cow pose, exhaling, rounding your spine, and then taking a sink towards child's pose. And then with a long breath in, through all fours, all the way to cow pose. Let's do one more. And then we'll meet back in all fours. So now, from all fours, curl your toes, and then we'll just take a little lean back into a toe stand. This can be a little intense, so you could come up on your knees a little bit or come up from your seat and then ease into it. We'll take a breath here, arms up, and then bring your right arm down, lean over to the right. Now, this might be where you stay. Another option is to gaze up at the little spot by your elbow, and then gaze along your opposite shoulder, and then let your left arm come down. Take a breath in and out, and then back to center. And then we'll do that on the other side. If it's too much on your toes, you can come back to just sitting on your feet. Take a breath in, going to the other side now. Lean over to the left. You could look up towards your elbow. And then looking down to your opposite shoulder, let that arm come down. Just feel an opening along the right side of your neck, and then come back up, and then take a little sink towards child's pose. Sometimes early in practice, it's nice to have a block to rest your head in child's pose. So feeling like this should be a resting pose. So softness in your shoulders, letting your neck relax. If it feels uncomfortable that your head can't come to the ground, the block is a really nice modification. So take 2 breaths in and out. In and out. Now make your way back to all fours. We'll come into our first downward dog. So spread your fingers wide, curl your toes, lift your hips up. Your knees will stay quite bent. And if it feels like a lot on your wrists, you can always walk your feet up a little bit so that you take that pressure off your wrists. So don't have any preconceived notions of what your downward dog should look like. It should feel mostly like a relaxing pose, neck relaxed. You could pedal your feet, just feeling out the back sides of your legs. If it feels like a lot, another modification could be to come onto your forearms and just do a very tiny downward dog. So we won't stay here too long. So now walk your feet up to your hands. We'll come to something called half lift. So you'll have a straight spine, crown of your head forward, and then we'll do a forward fold. So if you have your chair present, you can use that for support. So before you fold, bend your knees and then let yourself kind of just hang off your chair. So your upper body again should feel loose. We just did all that nice work stretching the shoulders. So notice if you're feeling very tight, see if you can let your neck relax. If you don't want to use the chair, blocks are also a nice option here. And then once you're folded, if you feel like you want to stretch the back of your legs a little bit more, now is the time to see about straightening. But don't strain. You could even pulse back and forth, maybe just seeing and feeling out where the stretch is. And then we're going to slowly rise up, but keep your chin tucked to your chest, knees bent. And then when you arrive, sweep your arms up, bring your hands through heart center and down to your sides. So we'll come into mountain pose. Your feet will be about hip width distance apart. Find a softness in your knees. Take a breath in to expand your spine. Let your shoulders soft, arms soft by your sides, but imagine the crown of your head reaching towards the ceiling. We'll take a couple breaths in mountain pose, maybe finding a spot to gaze at. Feel like you're being supported by your skeleton. So your body, the muscles, the connective tissue doesn't have to do that much work. So just feel that support, your natural stance. Adjust if you feel like you're holding anything really tightly. Let your bones do the work. Now come to the front of your mat. Take a breath in. We're going to do a forward fold, but bend your knees a lot. Step back to all fours. Sink to child's pose. With a breath in, come back to all fours. Breath out to downward dog. It can be as modified as you need it to be. And then walk your feet up to your hands to that half lift. And then fold, maybe using the chair. And then rise up. Sweep your arms up. We'll do that lateral bend again. So leaning to the left. A look up at your lifted arm. Look down at your opposite shoulder. Let that arm come down. Take a breath. Notice if your knees are locked. Slight bend. And then let your head come up. So now coming to the front of your mat again. Exhale, fold. Back to all fours. Sink to child's pose. Using a block if necessary. Bring your left hand over the top of your right. So you can bring your right hand wide, left hand over right to feel an openness along the left side of your body. You can rest your head on your upper right arm. Back to center. And let's do that on the other side. So bring your left hand to the outside of your mat, right hand over left. Letting your head find the support of your upper left arm. Take a couple of bigger breaths so you can really feel that expansion along the right side of your body now. Making your way back to center. And then back to all fours. Find your downward dog. Maybe you feel a little bit looser, so maybe your hips lift a little higher. Maybe your heels sink towards the ground, but only if it feels okay. See if your neck is relaxed. Give a little yes, no shake. And then look to your hands. Walk your feet up to your hands, half lift. Find your version of forward fold and then rise up. Let's do that lateral bend again. So leaning over, slight bend to your knees, gazing up at your raised arm, and then down to your shoulder, opposite shoulder. Let your raised arm come down. Feel that opening across your neck and up. Let's do the other side. Leaning to the opposite side, maybe gazing up, opposite shoulder and down. Slight bend to the knees and then rising up. Okay, let's add on a little bit. Breath in. So from here, you could bring your hands behind your back, draw your shoulder blades together, slight bend to your knees, lift your chest up, your spine up, and then take a little lean back. And then we're going to forward fold. Step your right foot back into a low lunge, and then step your left foot back to plank. Lower down to your belly. As you're lowering, your hands will be palm side down by your chest, tops of your feet on the earth. We'll rise up to baby cobra with a breath in. So when you breathe in, lift your chest up, draw your shoulder blades back, press the tops of your feet into the earth, and then lower down as you exhale. Let's do that 2 more times with breath. So breathing in, rising up, shoulder blades down and back, and lowering down. 1 more time. Breathe in, and then let it go. Now, press up to all fours, and then make your way to downward dog. Walk your feet up to your hands to half lift. Straight spine, crown of your head forward, and then finding your version of forward fold. And then rising up, sweep your arms up, and then you could bring your hands behind your back, extend your spine, maybe a slight lean back as you draw your shoulder blades together, and then come back to mountain pose. So let's do that on the other side. Breath in, forward fold, tense your fingers. This time left foot steps back to a low lunge or runner's lunge. Plant your hands, right foot back to plank. You could also do plank on knees. Lower down, let's do that baby cobra series again. So hands alongside your chest, tops of your feet in the earth. Breathe in as you rise. Exhale, lower. 1 more time, actually 2 more times. So breath in, breath out. On the last time, you could maybe lift your hands up off the ground, but still keep your feet grounded and lower down. Press yourself to all fours and then make your way to downward dog. Walk your feet up to your hands, half lift, forward fold, and then rise up, sweep your arms up, and then maybe bring your hands behind your back, extend your spine, shoulder blades together, slight lean, but see if you can keep that bend, soft knees, and make your way to mountain pose. So now take another breath in, exhale, fold, bend your knees a lot, come to all fours, and then make your way to a seated position. From your seated position, your legs will be long in front of you. So take a breath in and then take a little twist to the right. So left hand forward, right arm back. So still sitting up tall. So feeling a lift in your spine as you breathe in, and then feeling the twist as you exhale, but not forcing the twist. So let's take 2 more breaths here. Extend, breath in, twist, breath out. Now make your way back to center, bend your knees. What we're going to do is just drape our bodies over our bent knees, bringing chin towards chest. Take a breath here. Let yourself come up, and then we'll do that twist to the other side. So breath in, and then right arm forward, left arm back. Sitting up tall, spine extended, feeling the twist as you exhale. So find even, steady, smooth breaths in and out. Let's do one more round of breath. Make your way back to center, bend your knees, drape your body over, chin towards chest, and let yourself breathe. Rise up on an inhale. Come to your back, but have a block handy as you're lowering to your back. So we'll come into a bridge pose. So one option for this is to place the block the skinny way between your knees, but it'll be not actually on your knees, it'll be a little bit below on your upper, your lower thigh. So find a spot where your feet feel aligned. So you might start with a spot where you can touch your heels with your fingers, but that might be too tight. So just kind of move your feet back and forth where you feel solid in your position. So for our first bridge, we're going to press the backs of our arms into the earth, feet into the earth, a slight pressure squeezing the block in, and then with the breath in, lift your hips up. And we'll take a couple breaths here. So now the tricky part is notice if your glutes are really tensed. See if you can relax your glutes. So you might feel your hamstrings be a little bit more active. Let's take one more breath here. So still feeling that slight pressure on the block. And then lower down. So now you can do that same pose. Another option is to, as you lift up, scooch your shoulder blades together, and lift your hips up. Maybe your hands are a little bit closer. You could also clasp your wrists together, but if this feels really tight on your shoulders and chest, just stay with your arms, maybe just a little bit closer together and work towards that clasp. So we'll take a couple of breaths here. Once again, check out your glutes. See if you can let those go. It's a lot of things going on. So pressing the backs of your hands and feet into the earth, squeezing the block, seeing if you can let your glutes relax. And then lower down one vertebrae at a time. If you scooched your shoulders, let that go. Take a breath here. Now you can take the block away, and what we'll do is at the lowest setting now, lift up towards bridge and just set the block on your low back or sacrum. You could have your arms either by your sides long. Sometimes it feels nice to Gold Coast your arms or cactus your arms. So now just let your low back rest on the block. So see if you can find softness in the rest of your body. Take deep breaths in and out. In and out. Let's do one more. Now lift your hips up to remove the block. Adjust yourself so that both knees come up. Your feet will be off the ground, hands on your knees. Press your low back into the earth by bringing your belly towards your spine. Take a few rolls from side to side, just very gently. And then make your way back to center. Now with your arms straight, take a breath in, and then as you exhale, draw your knees towards your chest, and then inhale, knees away. And then move at your own breath pace, in and out. Exhaling, knees in, inhaling, knees away. Let's do one more. Now, with both knees up, place both hands on your right knee. Stretch your left leg long. See how that feels? If it doesn't feel good or it feels too tight, you can keep your left knee bent for this part. But what we're going to do is draw your right knee in towards your chest. And then with your hands as resistance, press your knee away into your hands. That's a breath in. And then as you exhale, just allow the weight of your knee to come in towards your chest. So let's do that 2 more times. So with your breath in, press your knee away into your hands. And then as you exhale, just allow your knee to come in towards your chest. 1 more time, breath in, feel that resistance. And then exhale. Now, just do a couple of rolls with that knee. So it's actually rolling your hip. Both knees to chest. And then either stretch your right leg long. If that feels too much, you can always bend your right knee. Draw your left knee towards your chest. Take a breath in. Press your knee away using the resistance of your hand. And then as you exhale, feel into bringing that knee towards the chest, not forcing, just allowing the weight of the leg to give that resistance. So breath in, resistance, breath out, knee to chest. 1 more time, breath in, feeling that resistance, and then letting go, knee to chest. And then do a couple circles, one direction, and then the next. Both knees to chest. And then place both feet on the ground. We'll do a pose called figure 4 or pigeon on back. I like this version as opposed to the front pigeon because it's not so much strain on the knees. So start by bringing your right ankle across your left knee. So this might be where you stay, depending on how tight your hips are. You could either lift your left foot up or put your left foot on a block. So that gives a little more stretch. And also the block is nice because then it allows you to feel some softness so you don't feel like you're really holding that really tightly. The other option is to hold on to the back of your left leg with your hands. And again, if you're doing that, you could still use the support of your block, letting your foot rest on that. So find a position that feels where you're getting a stretch, but that you're not overdoing it. So sometimes going into these poses, we can be a little bit of sensation junkies and try to overdo it, and then you end up doing more damage than good. So just allow yourself, that will be your challenge and your struggle, to see if you can find that little bit of stretch, but not feeling like you have to force it. So you could take some little rocks from side to side. You might notice that you land on a spot that might feel a little bit tender, and then the choice is to either land on that spot and breathe into it, or maybe just know that it's there and then just keep coming back to it and leaving it. Feel your breath deepening, so taking longer inhales and exhales and breathing into the sensation that you might be feeling. And then you can place both feet down on the floor and then left ankle over right knee. Same cues as before. You could stay here, maybe using a block under your right foot, maybe holding on to the back of your right leg. And then deciding if you prefer to be in stillness and stay with one spot, or if moving from side to side works better for you. So we'll take a few moments, a few breaths, feeling out this area. Sometimes it feels good to roll ankles just to give yourself something else to do. Deep breaths. Let's take one more round of breath. Let that go. So next we're going to be doing some twists lying down. So this is where your pillow or bolster might come in handy. So come onto your back, draw your knees into your chest. Your arms could be out to your sides like a T to start. And then we'll start by just rocking to the right and back to center. So feeling a little stopping point. Just feeling out your low back. And then at some point, maybe your knees come to the pillow and adjust as necessary. And then once you land, you can decide if you want your knees closer or a little bit further away. So that's an option for modification. With your arms, you can decide if you want to keep them out to your side. If you prefer a more chest opener, you can goalpost your arms. And then another option is to maybe gaze out to the opposite side. So if your knees are to the right, gazing out to the left. And then take several rounds of deep breath. Feeling of letting go. So notice if you're holding tension, especially in your shoulders and upper body. See if there's some place where you can let go. One more round of breath, then make your way back to center. We'll move the pillow to the other side. Draw your knees into your chest. You could even bring your chin or forehead towards your knees. And then with your arms out like a T, we'll just test out your back first by moving to the left and back to center. So if the case is that you feel strain in your low back when you're moving to the side, then just keep moving from side to side. And you might not want to go into the twist, but you might decide that you need maybe a higher pillow so that you feel supported as you come into the twist, and then deciding if your knees are closer to your chest or further away. So make adjustments And then decide how you're going to come into the pose. So you could keep your arms straight, you could cactus your arms. Maybe turning your head the opposite way of the twist. So if your knees are to the left, gaze to the right. So feeling in, finding softness in your face. Feeling your breath flowing, deep breaths in and out. And see where you can allow yourself to let go. Breathing in and out. Let's do one more breath here. Back to center. Knees towards chest. And then come into a full body stretch. So arms one direction, legs the next. And then you could come into your final resting pose, which could be Shavasana with your palms up, your legs in a V. Sometimes it feels nice to have some support underneath your knees, so that could be an option. Another option is to have a rolled up blanket or your pillow and come into more of a heart opening pose, bringing your arms to your side. But however you land, allow yourself to be comfortable and still. So now I'll lead you through a progressive relaxation series. So the way that it works is I will cue a specific body part, say example for as an arm. So I'll say draw attention to your right arm, take a breath in, contract the muscles, making a fist, and then as you exhale, allow the muscles to let go. So let's give that a try. So drawing attention to your face, taking a breath in, scrunch up all the muscles in your face, and then as you exhale, allow your face to soften and let go. Drawing attention to your shoulders, draw your shoulders up towards your ears with a breath in, and then as you exhale, allow shoulders to let go and settle into the earth. Draw attention to your right arm. Take a breath in, contract the muscles, make a fist, and then as you exhale, allow yourself to let go. Draw attention to your left arm. Take a breath in, contract the muscles, and then as you exhale, release. Draw attention to your back. Contract the muscles of your back as you breathe in, and then as you exhale, allow your back to soften and melt in. Draw attention to your right leg. Contract the muscles, scrunch your toes as you breathe in, and then as you exhale, let the muscles go. Draw attention to your left leg. As you breathe in, contract the muscles, and then as you exhale, let the muscles go. Feeling yourself anchored and grounded. You're welcome to stay here for as long as you want. Just letting go. Thank you for practicing. Namaste.